welcome to the EHF Euro 2018 live show presented by Lidl. I'm your host Rafaela Jan from our studio here in Zagreb. Let's start the show by taking a look at the action from last night. First up, we had Germany against Denmark. That's the defending champion against current Olympic champions. Most of the players, the majority of them, they play on club level in the German Bundesliga. And especially interesting was the encounter between two Kiel teammates, that is goalkeepers Andreas Wolf versus Nicolas Landin. Let's find out who would have the upper hand in this one.
Hello and welcome to Varazdin as main round Group 2 action continues. Almost intercepted, and what a goal that is. Excellent individual piece of skill by Stefan Weinhold. Still no way through for Germany at the moment. Good save from Landin. And that was a tricky one because it went low. It's Denmark's turn. Oh, they're through here. Brilliant from Wolf. Denmark were clean through. Lindberg had the chance and Wolf's made an epic save. It's kind of spluttered along or ambled along. No team really showing that they've got anything to suggest they're going to run away with it. The goal will count. In with Reichmann in the area. Mortensen gets Denmark back to within one. Denmark just taking the pace out of it for a moment. Lauger, Hansen. No stopping that one. Over the top into the... Nice play by Landin. He got back just in time. Fett can't get it to Pekela. It's going to be overturned. Germany are in trouble, are they? Oh, fantastic save! What a save that is from Damka. Groetsky did one earlier in the tournament, and what about that for a save from Damka? That's even better than Groetsky's. Oh, that one's crept in though. And Germany have their hearts broken. Denmark have the win. The final score, Germany 25, Denmark 26.
After Lasse Swan had been unstoppable for Denmark 2 days ago, this time around it was Hans Lindberg playing on the right wing for Denmark. He scored 9 goals and that made him the man of the match. On Twitter, Mikkel commented on this one. He said, Nikolaj Jakobsen is really a great coach, so much passion and a winning mentality. He achieves great things with Denmark. Following the match, Paul Drux was ruled out with an injury for the rest of the tournament. Now, moving on to the other match from last night, that saw Raul Gonzalez's Macedonian side take on the Spanish team that have really been flying under the radar a little bit. A lot of known names for the Spanish-born coach, but Spain having the upper hand in their history, having won all 5 previous encounters on competitive level. Let's see if that would change last night.
Hello and welcome to Varazdin, Croatia for continued live coverage of the 13th EHF Men's European Handball Championship. Lazarov denied, Vargas, good save. And has he got the shot? Yes, he has, using the upright. Macedonia with nobody in goal. Doesn't look good for Kirill Lazarov. Some serious strapping. This is a worry, isn't it, for Lazarov? Having had his thigh strapped up, whether that's the end of his game or not, that would be a huge loss. And Spain it is who have the goal. It's going to count. Great work from Stoilov. That's what he does so well. Spain should score here, and do score this time. It's Eduardo Gurbindo who gets the goal. All the way across, Soleil! brilliant goal. Nice ball. Can they finish? Yes, they can. A round of applause. Clever. Nice little lob, first one of the game. And another goal. And that means he doesn't get back to defend, and now it's just who wants to score. It'll be Alex Dushabayev with the goal. And that's over the top, straight in. And that is the end of the match. The final score here, Macedonia 20, Spain 31.
You were considered the best player of the match after 25 saves against Macedonia. That was a one-sided match right now. How do you feel it?
I'm feeling really good because we needed to win ASAP after the loss against Denmark. I think we managed from the beginning to take a break in the score, and then we take confidence to play our game, and it was easy for me when Lazarov was out because of his injury, and then I think all the game it was controlled by our side.
Kiri Lazarov had to leave the court after having played only 8 minutes. He has been ruled out for the rest of the tournament. Now let's start looking at the table from this group 2. Denmark still in the lead, but now they have 6 points. Spain on 4 points, up to second. And Germany, that was their first loss in the tournament. They remain on 4 points. For the Macedonians, also their first defeat in the tournament so far. They have 3 points. The Czech Republic and Slovenia did not play last night. The EHF Euro wouldn't be the same without volunteers. And we sent out our mobile reporter Berenice to take a look at what the volunteers do. And there's a special message in there for you as well. So take a look.
Vous aussi, devenez volontaire pour l'Euro 2018 en France. Be volunteer. Vous aussi, devenez volontaire. Vous aussi, devenez volontaire. Become a volunteer for EHF 2018 in France.
So here's how you get involved in the EHF Championship. Go to EHF-Euro.com for all the necessary information. Now, here's a voice you've heard countless times on commentary. EHF TV commentator Paul Bray has now joined me on the couch. Paul, thanks so much for coming. Welcome to the live show.
Thank you very much for having me.
So tell me, how many competitions have you commentated already?
Oh, well, this is my 20th European Championship I'm commentating now. I started nearly 30 years ago, and it's been a lot of matches. I reckon about 1,700 matches in that time.
And how did you get into commentating handball even?
Right place, right time. I was contacted in February '89 when Eurosport first went on air, and I was asked if I could come along and give some advice to the football commentator who was going to do this match. It was their second day on air, Martin Tyler, and I knew him, and I said, yeah, I'm fine to come and give some advice. I came along and gave advice. They gave me a coffee, and I thought this is quite exciting to be in a studio when they're producing a match. And then they said, come and sit with me in the booth, and I got quite excited about it. Then he said, put the headset on. And I thought, I'm going to listen to him commentating. This is really fantastic. And then he said, when I put my hand up, you stop talking. Well, I nearly spat my coffee out because I said, why would I start talking? He said, you're commentating the match. And I had no idea. And that's how it started. So it was a tough beginning because I always say preparation is key. I was totally unprepared. But that was 29 years ago. Here I am today. I survived it.
And you are a handball player yourself, aren't you?
Yes, I played in France, where I was born and brought up, and I played for Great Britain. In fact, the reason I was contacted by Eurosport at the time is I was also coaching the Great Britain women's team.
Okay. In all the tournaments that you've commentated, what have been some of the funniest, some of the craziest moments or encounters that you've had?
Oh, I mean, there are so many, apart from, you know, how it all began. I mean, the first match I ever commentated live in the arena, because many of the matches I do are off tube on a television, was a final in 2002 between Sweden and Germany, and how controversial that was in the Globe Arena with that last second goal, which everyone said, it's good, it's not good, between Germany and Sweden. That was an amazing way to start. I mean, that was quite tremendous. On the funnier side, you know, I've had real challenges over the years. I like to pronounce names correctly, and I work hard to get the pronunciation right. Don't always manage it. But I was commentating at the Asian Games, and I remember commentating Mongolia against Iran, and the Mongolian goalkeeper's name was NG, and I found a Mongolian reporter and said, how do I pronounce the name? And she said, it's And I said, I mean, I can't say it must be Nag, or he said, no, it's So I said, you know, can you imagine in a fast break situation, oh, what a great save by I said, it's never going to work, is it? But we got through it, luckily, mostly because the poor chap didn't make too many saves, to be honest.
Okay. No, I can totally relate to that, just because, I don't know, yesterday, I don't know if you watched the show, but we had Serbian Jako Šešum here, and I asked him, so how am I doing pronouncing your name? So I'm struggling with that, and being the EHF team coming from so many different nations, we all ask, so how do you pronounce that one? I can help a little bit with the German names, yes. And so I think we're doing pretty well. Now, has there been an incident where you commentated where you were speechless, you really didn't know what to say?
Well, it's not so much doing the matches. I think people will know I'm never lost for words. But I have in the early days of commentating, when we didn't have computers, we weren't able to just print off straight from the internet. When I started commentating 89, 90, it was all faxes. And I started a number of matches with absolutely no start list whatsoever. So I knew who the teams were. I didn't know who the players were, other than those I recognized. But in some cases, it was a very entertaining beginning until someone opened the door and calmly handed me a list and closed the door again. So those were challenging. You know, you can only get away so far with, you know, great pass to the center, you know, oh, lovely pass to the line. And after a while, they're going to say, but who is it? And that was challenging in the early days. But now you get to know the players more, it's a little easier. And of course, you never get into that situation these days. You don't have to rely on a fax.
Right. And so how do you feel about having so much information out there now? I mean, that helps, but at the same time, you being used to doing it without so much information, yes. How has that changed your preparation?
Well, it has changed over the years. I prepare enormously, and I have a lot of data with me when I'm commentating a match. The reality is, when I finish, I probably feel I've only used about 30 or 40%. But you don't know which 30 or 40% you're going to use, so it's good to have all the information. It's good to use it, but you mustn't overload it. And I guess it comes from the fact that I commentated in the days when, you know, there wasn't a digital feed. And I remember commentating one match when the picture just went blank, and it was the link from, it just said Moscow Tau link, and it had gone, and the director just said, keep talking. So I had to keep talking for 3 or 4 minutes because they had no option in those early days. They just left it blank, and I kept on apologizing and saying, we'll come back, and trying to think of something to say. So because of incidents like that, I like to be prepared. So I'm over-prepared, but you just have to use what you use and come out and keep the rest for next time.
And over the years that you've commentated, what would you say have been the biggest changes to the game of handball? Oh,
it's changed so much, you know. I mean, when I started, you had 12 players. You had to wait for both teams to be back in their half for the throw-off. I think the speed of the game has just changed beyond belief. I mean, that's the main thing. These quick throw-offs, the 5-2 attacks with 7 players going up is just so different, because in the 90s, if you had 19-18, that was a very high-scoring game. These days, that could be a half-time score. And so the pace of the game is relentless, you know, and the physicality and the fitness of the players is just incredible compared to when I think back. But then again, you only had 12 on the bench, so you had less players to turn the bench around. These days, you got 16, and actually you need them.
So how would you like to play in these times now?
You know, I was a line player in my time. I think I would struggle with my height. In the 80s and 70s, it was okay, you know, in my Great Britain days. But I think these days I'd struggle. But actually, if I was fit enough, I think it would be fabulous, you know, and the technology of the ball and with the resin, the kind of spinning they can do. In my day, that really wasn't an option with the ball technology we had. So it would be great fun, I think, if I could be young and fit again to go and join in. But I'd need to probably grow a few inches if I wanted to play on the line again.
Paul, what type of action, a moment in the game really gets you going in your commentary?
Oh, I mean, you know, For me, I just live for those matches that are absolutely level in the last seconds when you must have a winner, and that's what I live for. You know, and I'm very partisan. I was born and brought up in France. I like the French team, but you know, as long as even if they're on the losing end, we can have a tight game at the end, and you can really get excited about it and really stay engaged with it. It's difficult, you know, when there's such a gulf in the teams, and you're commentating those situations. But I love that. And I love, you know, the Kempes, and a little bit of showboating is always really nice, you know, and the unusual, you know. I mean, you could say some of what we saw yesterday, you know, with some of the players now having to become pseudo goalkeepers to help their keepers when they're not back on again. I think some of that's great fun as well.
Well, and that's exactly what we will take a look at now, because I'm sure this one will get you jumping out of your seat. So let's take a peek here at our emoji competition with the best action from last night. So here we go then. If you want to vote for Rune Damke with this amazing save here, that's the eagle. Or you pick Rune Damke, who has come in, that would be the plane. Also, take a look here at the action, Rune Damke flying in, that's the rocket. So vote for your favorite save here. Rune Damke, you have 3 emojis to pick from. Tell us what you think. You have the rest of the show to do so. We will reveal the winner. Paul, what's your favorite?
Well, I think I'm going to go with the rocket.
You're going with the rocket. Well, we'll see what the fans have to say. So now let's take a look at the competition so far. So you've come now to Zagreb to commentate the main round. What have you seen so far? Which teams have surprised you the most?
The team that surprised me is the Czech Republic. You know, I think they've got some really nice young players. They got a new 21-year-old right back who's really been so impressive, Kasparek, who I just think, what a great talent to find, you know, and Zdrahala, who's doing his usual, driving the centre. So I've been very impressed with the Czech Republic, because they had such a dreadful opening, and you could very easily have slipped from there, but they really pulled themselves up and did well. And of course, you know, I like France, and what I liked about France is the fact that in their last match, which was so tight against Sweden, the old hands were there as well to steady things, but, you know, many have retired now, and the youngsters came on, you know, Claire was there, and Mem, who's already made a bit of a name for himself already, Tourna, and they managed to maintain the momentum, and I think it's great news for France looking forwards. And Spain, you know, I like the quick transition play with the Spaniards, and they've been great fun as well.
Who would you see as the front runner of the tournament up until now?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think the Spaniards are reasonably consistent, so I could see them coming through on that side into the final. And then maybe with my partisan feel, I will stick with the French to have a tight defence with Luka Karabatic, hopefully staying out of trouble this time, and defending well alongside his brother.
Okay. Now, you might have seen that we've asked people for their top 7 of the preliminary round, but for you, because you have so much experience, it's going to be your top 7 of, well, the last 20 editions, right? Right.
Okay. Well, that's a tough one, because we're talking now about, you know, 3 generations of players, and let me do this. I'm going to do 7, but I'm going to ask for a specialist defender as well. And if you let me do that, because I've got a joker there, and then I'll be all right. And I'm going to try and avoid using players who are here, because they're great legends here already. You know, Gudjon Valor Sigurdsson and Lindberg and people like that who you would put in maybe. But I've got to think beyond that as we're going long term. Middle is tough. You know, you had Wislander, who was just a staggeringly good playmaker for Sweden in the Benga Boy days. Dujcebaev, of course, Talon Dujcebaev, whose 2 sons are here now and looking just about as good as he is maybe for the future. But given that we're in Croatia, it's maybe appropriate. I'm going to go with Ivano Balic for the central position. All right.
So I'll put it on the board.
Just for his, you know, his creativity and his sense of fun when he was playing. At right back, again, it's a tough one. You know, Lazarov would be a claim, but I'm trying to avoid going with players who are at the tournament here at the moment. Jung Kyung-shin, the Korean, who was just staggering in his day, towering presence at right back, but I'm going to go with Laszlo Nagy at right back.
Okay. So right back.
My left back, well, that's someone who is here, and I'm afraid I just can't leave him out, because he's such an amazing player in attack and defence, and I like him so much. And of course, 3 times World Player of the Year. Nikola Karabatic has to go in for me at left back.
Okay, so one current player on the board.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's the only one now. So going into the left wing, I've talked about some of the ones as well. I mean, Gensheimer on the left wing is so good, and Gudjon Vallo Sigurdsson, who's part of that elite 1,000+ club. You've got Dibirov, you've got Kretschmar on the left wing, but I'm going to go with a great favourite of mine in his day, and that's the Dane Lars Christiansen.
Okay.
Scored 1,500 goals plus, I think, for Denmark. Was just great fun. On the right-hand side, that was a tough one, actually, but I'm going to go with, you know, because you got Gergo Ivanchik and there's Abalo who's still playing now, so again, I'm trying to avoid going with those ones, but actually, I'm quite comfortable with this. I really liked him, and I used to call him the smiling assassin. It's Mirza Jomba of Croatia. It may be appropriate. We have two of them as we're here. He had such a sense of fun when he was playing, and he always smiling. It was just fantastic. And then you can't have a 7 looking back over those years without the great Swedish players, and the whole team, frankly, could probably have made it on there if you'd given me more than one choice per position. But I'll go with Per Karlin on the line.
Okay, line player. So that leaves the
goalkeeper. The goalkeeper. I could have got away with Omeyer, who I think is fantastic, and he's won so many titles, and he has retired, so he's not here. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with another great legend of his time, who I commentated and enjoyed commentating, and he was cat-like in goal, and that's Andrei Lavrov. And then you said, okay, so you need an alternate. Why do you need an alternate? I need an alternate only because this player really is, I think, the best player that I could ever imagine in terms of entertainment. He is the showman extraordinaire, and you cannot have a team without him. And he did play in defence for his team at the front, and his fast breaks were just outrageous. He had every trick in the book, and that's Jackson Richardson. Okay, so we give you that alternate. So that is my the team, and I stress it's the team I'd like to play with because there are many players. I'm sure others are going to look at that and go, oh, I could name you a completely different starting 7. I'm quite sure. You would like to play with them? Now, would you like to play against them too? It would be great to play against them. I think it would be a bit catastrophic, but yes, why not? I could play against them. How do you think they would compare to the team of today? I think, you know, they would be okay. Karlin was a real fighter on the line. He would make his space. Balic, I think, is, you know, Nodge is still played in this kind of generation of handball. Karabatic still there. Christiansen has that kind of skill that the Danes, and for that matter, the Spaniards, seem to turn off a conveyor belt on the wing. You know, this great speed and ability to score from very closed angles. And Jomba as well. You know, I think it would be a bit tough. Some of them would find it a very different game, and the pace of the game would be different. You know, maybe thinking to Per Karlin, maybe, and Lavrov, Jomba, to where they were, but they're not that far back, you know. And in those days, they had some pace as well. And who would be good to coach these best 7, best 8? Again, I'm a bit biased. I have a great favourite, and that's Daniel Costantini of France. He was an amazing coach and a great fun guy, and there's some funny anecdotes about him over the years that were just so good. I remember him because when I played for Great Britain, we were against France in the Sea World Championships in Portugal. He'd just taken over. France were right down at their lowest ebb at that particular point, and by 1992 he'd taken them to bronze at the Olympic Games in Barcelona. 3 years later they were world champions, and I think that's a very short time for someone to turn a team around, and then he kept them there. With this great sense of fun and adventure and a bit of creativity and really getting the best out of the players. Okay, well, thank you for that. That's really, really nice to have this top 7 from over the years. You know, we have a prediction game going on here at the EHF Euro 2018 live show. Right. And the guest always has to predict. But we like to change it up as well to not make it too predictable for all the participants. Right. So, the challenge for today is to pick the top scorer of the day. But I give you a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds maybe, to think about that. And let's take a look here at what Brian has to say for his prediction of the day.
98, 99. 100. Top score tonight is going to be Jerry Tolbring from Sweden.
Within the left, it's the left wing, isn't it?
Okay, so Brian, put some weights on that bar next time, okay? But thanks for that prediction. Out and about early again. Paul, so he said Jiri Tolbring,
Yeah.
the top scorer.
I'm going to go with. I'm actually going to go with Jurinok.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, I think maybe. No, Tolbring is a good choice. I think he's not quite come into his own in this tournament, and I think as time goes on, it's going to be maybe his opportunity to suddenly burst onto the scene and really have his moment.
Okay, so you pick Tolbring or Jurinok?
I'll go with Tolbring as well.
Oh, you can pick a third one. That makes it even more exciting.
That's fine. Let's stick with Tolbring for the
okay, so
Sweden
we've two
game.
for Tolbring. The fans have decided that, or have are predicting Andrei Jurinok from Belarus to be the top scorer of tonight. And this pick comes from Vastrolav Katic. So thank you. You will be representing the fans as our prediction game continues. So then, shall we take a look at Group 1 standings before we head into tonight's action? So, in Group 1, we have France up with 6 points, still undefeated and in pole position, as they are trying to make their semi-final berth happen here as quickly as possible. Croatia and Norway, 6 points and 4 points respectively. They have a rest day today. Sweden on 4 points. They need a win. They are looking to bounce back if they want to keep their hopes of a semi-final berth alive. Belarus and Serbia are still looking for their first main round win. So then the action tonight throws off at 6:15 as usual. This is Serbia against France, followed by Sweden against Belarus at 8:30. Both of these are played in Arena Zagreb. So let's take a look at the first one here. Serbia against France. As Jako Šešum told us last night, or yesterday in the show, Serbia want to deliver a good performance against France. They want to represent their country to the best of their ability, even though they cannot make it to the semi-finals anymore. The two sides have met twice in competitive action, with France winning both times. France are looking for a 5th victory in a row here at the tournament, and there's going to be a record being set on the French side for Nikola Karabatic as he steps on the court. It'll be his 57th EHF Euro appearance, and that levels the record with his coach Didier Dinard for Euro appearances. What do you make of the matchup?
I think France will win this one, but I think it'll be an opportunity for the youngsters to shine as well. I think Dika Mem, who's had a good championship, could well top score in that one between the two teams if he can get himself in the play. But I do hope we'll see a lot of Claire and Tournat on court, and Lagarde can possibly come in as well. But France will have an eye on the next game. But of course, a win here today will seal their place in the semi-final. Of course, this still doesn't guarantee first or second place going ahead. But I can see France playing a strong physical defence, you know, and then really pushing for the fast breaks with the wings. But in set play, yeah, I can see the likes of Dika Mem coming into his own today.
I'll give you a backdoor here. Do you want to pick Dika Mem for top scorer?
For the day between the two matches? Is it? So it's the day with the two games?
Yep.
Okay, if it's between both games, I'm going to go with Dika Mem rather than Tolbring to be the top scorer of the day. That said, of course, Tolbring takes penalties, and I could imagine there'll be a few penalties in the second game, but let me stick with Mem to have a different choice.
I think we can accept that as the pick of the day. Now, the next one, that is Sweden. But before we look ahead, why don't we get some life advice from the Swedes? How do you feel about that?
I'm all game for that. Let's have a look.
Let's take it away here.
You ready? Hello and welcome to Super Jerry's and Palle's Guru questioning. The goalkeeper in my club is a bit crazy. How do you deal with them? How do you deal with me?
I have a crazy goalkeeper here, Pavlika, and yeah, you need to have fun with him and play with him sometimes. So yeah.
The right answer on this question is you have to keep him happy. Then is everything good. So not
maybe,
so good answer.
Maybe. That's maybe true.
I'm the guru for that question. My girlfriend just broke up with me, and now my heart is broken. What do I do now?
I think you should find a new girlfriend, and
I would also say time heals every wound. My coach always plays me on the wing. Why?
Maybe because you're a fast player and maybe you're a little bit smaller than the other guys.
Do you mean size matters?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, next question. My mother says I have a terrible taste in fashion. Any fashion tips? Leather boots, jeans and a shirt with short arms. That's always works in Sweden. And sunglasses and a happy smile. My friend and I can't settle the debate. Mikkel Hansen or Daniel Narcisse. Can you settle it for us?
Mikkel Hansen is a good playmaker, but Narcisse is better 1-against-1.
I would also say that Mikkel Hansen is one of the best shooters of the world, and Daniel Narcisse is the best 1-against-1 player in the world, no question about it. I think this is the final question. Socks on or socks off?
Socks on.
I say socks off.
Why?
I don't know. I like it without, but now I
have without and you have with.
Yeah, and you answer you
yeah,
want.
But I'm freezing.
Stupid Swede.
Thank you, Jiri Tolbring and Andreas Palika, for this live advice. Now, as Sweden face Belarus tonight, they've won all previous 5 encounters with Belarus. This is a crucial match for the semi-finals. Belarus are already out of contention for the semi-final spot, but they are looking to finish the championship on a high. Paul, can a team like that, wanting to finish on a high even though they are out, can that be even more dangerous?
I don't think it can be too dangerous in a way, as long as they don't get too worked up about it, because sometimes defensively they get very physical, and if they've got to make sure they're not too carried away in that particular situation. I think they're going to have their work cut out there, because Sweden need the win really to try and stay on track, so they're in charge of their own destiny, because then they can go into the last match knowing that a win for them is enough. So they can't really afford to slip up today.
It's quite some pressure.
It is pressure, but I think they can take it, the Swedes. You know, they've got a lot of experienced players still in the lineup. I think Jesper Nilsson has been absolutely fabulous in defence, but also on the line, and done a great job. And I think they showed amazing character in the preliminary stage, you know, and that great win against the hosts. And I think that was amazing. But you know, against France, they didn't quite get their game going, and I think they've got a point to prove here, really, that they can get the flow back into the game, because on their day, they can beat anybody.
But it's still difficult for them if you look at the table now, because they are on 4 points, and Croatia are on 6 points, so it's not really in their own hands, or is it?
Well, if they win today, obviously they're level with Croatia, and then they are a little bit dependent on France, of course. But the thing is, if they end up level on points with the Croatians, then the head-to-head will count. The small table is difficult for them, because they had the big defeat rather against the French, and that's going to tell. But so it is tight. But that's what I like about this championship. Is actually both groups are still so open, with 4 teams in contention on both sides. But today could be a very important game for them if they can get it right. It really keeps them a little bit in control, I think.
And will we hear you tonight on EHFTV.com?
You will. I'm commentating both the matches tonight from the Zagreb Arena, and looking forward to it.
Okay, so are we. So you heard it live on EHFTV.com. You now have a face to put to the voice. This is Paul Bray. So that leaves us to reveal the action of the day. Now, who did you pick? You picked Rune Damke, the Rocket. Let's take a look at the action once more.
Can't get it to Pekela, it's going to be overturned. Germany are in trouble, are they? Oh, fantastic save! What a save that is from Damke. Groecki did one earlier in the tournament, and what about that for a save from Damke? That's even better than Groecki's. How important could that prove to be?
Amazing Rune flying through the air. Paul, we won't see you flying through the air, we'll hear you on the air, as I said, but before I let you go, there's always a thank you present, and a choice always here on the EHF Euro 2018 live show. There's Tor, the mascot, or there's the mug for a nice coffee.
Do you know what? I love caffeine. I can't work without caffeine. I'll go for the mug if that's all right.
You go for the mug?
Rafaela.
Absolutely. So here's your mug then.
Thank you
Enjoy
very
a
much
nice hot cup of coffee later today as you commentate. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I hope you guys enjoyed the show as well. There will be more tomorrow at 12 o'clock sharp. As always, we say bye-bye from the studio now. See you tomorrow.